I think ever since these were announced back in 2009, everyone wanted one. Or at least so they thought. I have never been able to pick one up, but now that I have, I want to tell you what my findings are to help you with your purchase decision. First off, the build quality is very different than what you think. The main part is the base, which has enough weight to it. It also rotates with the fan, so it needs to be loose at the base. But at first sight, this looks off too. Then you click the top part on there and you realize how cheap this thing really is. The top part is completely made of plastic, but it also has to be hollow inside because of the airflow, so it doesn't feel strong at all. Then once you're able to turn this thing on, you will find out just how noisy this fan really is. Now I've got an anemometer meter here, but also a decibel meter. One shows me the speed of wind passing through the turbine in kilometers per hour or meters per second. So basically, we will test the wind speed it will produce. The other one is just as important, the decibel meter, which will measure how noisy the Dyson fan is. And we want to sleep while having this fan on too, so the lower the better. The Dyson fan has 10 speeds, and after speed 5, it gets really noisy in my opinion. Now you could say, oh well, that's only the last 5 speeds. I won't use those anyway. Well, you'd be wrong, because 1 until 4 basically produce no air whatsoever. It gets to normal level at 5. And in between 5 or 7 is where I usually have it on, when it's hot outside. Then you have this button on the base, which is also your power button, but you can also hold it to basically go from 1 to 10, or from 10 to 1, and it repeats until you let go, to find your preferred speed. You'll never use that, trust me. But luckily we have the remote as well, and it's a very fine one too, or at least that's what it looks like. Well, looks can be deceiving. This one is probably one of the worst remotes I have ever seen on a fan. The range is so bad that even if you have only a plant in between you and the fan, it won't register. Only when you're standing in a straight line at like 1 meter distance, it will sometimes listen to you. Now this isn't a Dyson problem per se, most fans have these crappy remotes. Not sure why that is, but it's really a common issue. Nonetheless, I judge Dyson even more for it because it's at another level of robbery, asking $400 for this thing with such a bad remote. This fan is actually an air purifier, so it does have more functionality than just blowing air, at which I'm sure it's perfect. Dyson is known for having good filters and I completely trust that. Be sure to check the price of the filters though, and it needs to be replaced every year. I would love to give you more data on the air purifier aspect, but sadly there is none because it does not even come with app support. Yes, you heard that right. The $400 costing Dyson air purifier is actually the cheapest model and does not have app support. I should have expected that. To lift this thing up, you probably need to lift the base too, because it feels like I'm destroying this fan when I'm lifting it up by the top part. And it probably puts strain on the plastic connection too. Not too comfortable doing it that way. So I guess that's another negative as well. No easy way of transporting it. If we take a look at the stats from our meters, at speed 5, which I said is basically the first speed at which you will notice anything, it produces 39.1 decibels with only 0.9 meters per second. At speed 10, it will produce 54.9 decibels with a speed of 2.2 meters per second. Now I speak from experience when I say that 1.5 to 2 meters per second is considered a normal speed for when it's hot out. So 0.9 meters per second is still a little underperforming, while the sound it produces is too much. But I guess that everyone's taste is different. Now for the positives. It rotates very subtle, and I love this kind of attention to detail. On other fans, it just looks very robot-like with these sudden movements and twitches. But here it's also very smooth. like those expensive Audi turn lights. Even though it's not the best build quality, it looks cool and the bladeless design is very child friendly. It's still a very interesting piece of tech for sure. If you want to know how this fan stacks up against a whole bunch of other fans, be sure to check out this video over here. And I'll see you there.